what I will do is have each panel member just introduce himself, herself, say their name. You have a program which will give you their credits. And they'll, at some point during this, I'm sure, tell you about what they're going to do. What we're going to try to do in this hour with me is to go through sort of soup to nuts, making an ultra-low budget film. We'll see how far we get. And then 15 minutes with Toru on technical matters like cameras and microphones and stuff I don't understand at all. Okay, so why don't we start? Just introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Andy Gunn, producer of the feature film Love in the Time of Monsters. Rolls right off the tongue.
I'm Allison Venor. I also am a producer on the feature Love in the Time of Monsters.
I'm Elizabeth Carr. I'm a SAG actor and a producer on the film Radio Free Albemuth.
I'm John Allen Simon, and I'm the writer-director and one of the producers on Radio Free Albemuth.
I'm J.C. Calciano. I'm the writer, producer, director of E-Cupid and Is It Just Me?
I'm Tammy Kaplan, and I'm the co-producer, co-director, co-editor of Desperate Acts of Magic.
Hey, I'm Joe Gold, and I'm the other guy on Desperate Acts of Magic.
And now I'm going to talk in the microphone. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. I want to make a movie. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Really quickly, if we could also have staff here that are here representing contracts. You have a question about contract.
Yeah.
If you could introduce yourselves.
Okay. Hi, Joanna Mamie, Theatrical Contracts. Darian Michelle Gibson, SAG-AFTRA.
And I'm Will Marshall from the New Media Department.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Right.
I'm somebody who wants to make a movie, and I've just realized I want to make a movie. I may not even have a script. I have not spent money yet. What should I do? What's my first step?
I would say the first step is to surround yourself with people that are very talented, because that's really the best thing I could tell anybody is really get other people that are talented and passionate about the project that you're interested in doing.
You are really into social media. I mean, what you told me is when you started, you had a day job, and tell me how you left your day job, what announcement you...
Oh, well, I was working a day job. It was in entertainment, but it was in home entertainment. It was doing DVD and Blu-ray bonus features and that sort of thing. And I was running, a post house. And I decided that's not what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be producing content, developing new content. And I left and decided that social media and also networking in person was going to be the best way for me to get out there and get projects.
What I'm asking is, how did you announce yourself to the world?
I just posted that I am looking for a project to produce.
Yes, and the way you surrounded yourself is through a lot of social media. Yep. All you people use social media a lot.
I think social media is crucial, especially
from the beginning.
Right? From the beginning, and even before you think about producing a movie, you should be on social media already. Your Twitter, your Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, because you want to have a presence before you start asking people for help or money in crowdfunding. You want to find out, you want to find your voice, your unique imprint on what it is you're doing. And I agree, surrounding yourselves with talented people is crucial. Also, doing your homework, looking what other people are doing, support other filmmakers, find yourself a good script. Because there's really no point in doing it if you don't have quality material. It's just too hard anyway.
Well, I would find out, what do you want to accomplish first?
Yeah, the first thing you make niche films, right?
I think the first thing you have to decide is what do you want to get from this? And I wanted to make a business out of making films. So I looked at what kind of films would make what kind of money. I'm gay, so I liked to support the community. So I went and I did some research, as you said, about what do these gay films generate as far as a profit. So I went and I contacted a sales agent and I said, what do these films make as far as profit? And then once I realized what the profit of the film was, then I cut the distributor's fees and all the fees that would be taken out of the film to identify what the budget should be. And once I identified what the budget should be based on what the profit of the film was going to be, then I decided what kind of film I wanted to make. I love romantic comedies, so I wanted to do a gay romantic comedy, and I knew that it had X amount of earning potential. So at that point, I knew what my budget for that picture was going to be.
Let me just interrupt for a second. One of the things it seems to me it's clear is you have to decide on what you're making for what purpose, right?
Yes.
No, I slightly disagree, because I think I've spent a lot of years as a writer-producer in development deals at studios not making movies, and at a certain point I realized, time marches on, and if I wanted to make movies, I should be in a position to greenlight them myself, not be looking for someone else to empower me to make a movie. So I think that's the model that probably most of you here, I'm guessing, are kind of interested in, rather than making necessarily a business that I really admire.
And you have to be
People who can do
passionate
that.
about it too.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like really, really passionate about it.
But I think, you start with, I would start with two things. I would start with working on other people's micro-budget movies first, seeing what they're doing and how they're doing it. Be a free worker on one of their movies. If you want to open a restaurant, nothing beats working as a waiter or busboy in someone else's restaurant.
How do you find out what movies are micro-budget movies are being made?
Oh, just
easy, right?
You join Film Independent and be on their lists, or what's the list? What's it called? Not Craigslist, but the crew
Not
list.
Craigslist. The what?
Mandy.com.
Mandy's list.
Mandy.
List.
Yeah.
Mandy's list. If you have some skill set or are reasonably intelligent, people will put you to work on their movie. I'll put you to work on a movie. So but then the second thing is to inventory what your resources are. As you're not going to make Star Trek on a micro budget, but if you have access to a cabin in Big Bear, think about that as a resource. If you know people who, if your resources, a lot of good actors, think about an ensemble piece with working actors who might give you a day. They won't give you a month to work for nothing, but they'll give you a couple of days maybe. Inventory what you've got as a resource, unless you're starting from the script first. But that's really kind of a mistake, to try to shrink a script to fit a budget. And the rule, I think, kind of for these things is, what can you put in? Or if someone what can your husband or wife or immediate circle put in? Because if it's if it's $250,000, you gotta, again, you're in that thing of looking for someone to greenlight your movie. You're not greenlighting it yourself. The goal here is to greenlight your own movie, I think.
I would just like to add one thing to that. Definitely agree with basically beg, borrow, and steal everything you can from everyone you know to make especially your first project. But also, I found definitely that if you have a great script, that helps a lot, because you'll get a lot of people interested in your script. Like with Love in the Time of Monsters, it was this totally insane horror comedy script, but it was legitimately funny on the page, which was nice. So when we went out to talk to actors, they actually, I don't know if you guys know who Doug Jones is, but he's a very cool guy. But we just sent him the script, and he did the movie because his joke was that he always got this. It almost felt like he got the same script with just a different cover page, like every time.
Because he does a lot of horror.
Until our movie.
Yeah, until our movie. So he was really excited because he actually got to play like a person, not just a monster eating kids that
that's great.
Stoned in the woods. So I would just recommend when you first, and that's like a direct quote. But anyways, so they, I agree with everything everyone's saying, but definitely, just before you go, if you have a great script, I think as actors, this too, it's just I want to work on this, so they will definitely sign on.
Okay, two things about scripts. First of all,
Wait, before we say anything
yes.
about scripts, I want to jump on. I 100% agree what you said. Use what you have, but I also want to go back to something JC said, which I think is that you did, but I want to highlight it. He found his audience. he was doing films for the gay community, and that's where he built. And if you leave with nothing else from tonight, especially on social media and when you're looking to crowdfund your resources and your people, you've got to know who you're targeting and build from there. So that's wonderful that you knew who your niche was. Our niche is science fiction, because it's based on a Philip K. Dick, the man who also did Blade Runner and Minority Report. But that's our base. That's where we built on when we reached out and did a successful Kickstarter campaign. So that's really crucial.
I think another thing that you have to remember when choosing your project, you're going to be on this project for a long, long period of time. And nobody else is going to carry it further than you will. So you have to love this project. You are the mom, you are the dad of this project. No one's going to babysit your project for you. You're the one taking it the whole way through. So you have to really be passionate and love your project.
And that starts with the script, you're saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, now, I just want to touch on one thing about scripts. It is possible, if you're an actor and you don't have access to a script, to actually get scripts, right? I mean, there's something called, what is it,
Inktip?
Yeah,
Inktip.
Which we were at a couple of weeks ago.
There
as panelists, where people come in and pitch. Look, there's no shortage of scripts, right? I mean, you go to your Starbucks and everyone there is working on a script, and the baristas are doing a Kickstarter for their script, and there's no shortage of scripts. And I've been in the film business a long time. I was a producer's rep. I had a distribution company. And there's, with all of this talk that we're going to talk about things that are strategic and tactical about making low-budget, micro-budget movies, there's consistently there are two problems with all the movies that don't get adequately seen or adequate distribution. The script isn't good and the acting isn't good, one or the other. It's, Those are the two problems. It's never been easier to make a movie. You can make a movie with the camera that's on us right now that has an acceptable. Yeah. It looks like a Sony EX1 or EX3. Is that what it is? See, I'm very technical. Technical genius. I have the theory of the good enough camera, because if you get an Alexa or a Red Epic, it means that you have to work with a certain kind of crew with certain technical expertise.
Hold on, we're going to get to that.
I know, but just to square the point.
Yeah, if you don't want to write your own script and you want to make a movie where you play some, great doctor because you went to med school and you know everything about medicine, but you don't want to write the script, or you have a cabin in Big Bear, or you want to make a gay romantic comedy, you can go to a place like Inktip, and there's other places like InfoList, and there's other places where
Yahoo groups, Yahoo Writers Group.
Yeah, you can say, hey, I'm looking for this. And you'll get so many submissions, it's not even funny.
You'll get inundated. Also, probably a lot of you are in theater companies, and a lot of theater companies have
writers groups.
I'm in Pacific Resident Theater, and there's a fantastic writers group there. So there are plenty talented people out there.
Okay, but I'm going to assume, just for the sake of argument, that you've got a script, you are writing a script, or a friend of yours is writing a script, and so you got a script. I am guessing everybody who has either gotten a script from somebody else or written it themselves has not used the first draft as a shooting script.
Right.
How do you get that first draft to shooting script? What do you do?
Well, I think most of you are actors, I'm assuming. And the idea
such
it's a good.
Like I said, most of you are actors.
Actors. Yes, I'm an actor.
Lovely people. Instead of, every writer who writes a script thinks it's great. You have to, because you wrote it. But if you're a producer, wear your producer's hat. Make sure that the script I assume most of you probably want to do one of these movies as a showcase for yourself as an actor. Maybe you would be better served by doing a big survey of what scripts are out there with parts you'd like to play, rather than necessarily writing your own script, unless you're driven to write your own script. It's hard to wear too many hats on a movie.
Yeah, but if you
just
write your own
it's a
script,
collaborative art form.
yeah, but to
I
answer
don't
his
star in it.
question,
Yeah.
if you've written your own script, then you have a script, you have a piece. I mean, if you're an actor, and when I wanted to make a movie, I wrote my script. If I'm
For you to act in?
No, for me to produce and direct.
Right.
So I
not-
wrote
but
my
not
own
to act
script.
in.
Same thing. So
Well-
if I'm an actor and I want to showcase my skills and I find a script, or I develop a script, or I find a writer and I create the script, and your question was, I've got the script, how do I know it's any good? Then inventory the people who you know and you trust, who work in the industry, who are smart, and get notes from them.
And have them read it
And have them
get
read
notes.
it, and ask for notes, and sit down and take, invite them all over and say, let's have a forum and talk about the script, what works, what doesn't work, what resonates.
You're nodding,
with
Joe.
me.
Yeah, actors
There's
love
there's
to
also
develop.
you know
Right.
there's
Staged
screenwriting contests, and those are great. Always do the ones that give coverage. Pay the extra $40-$50 and get the coverage. And don't
Explain
trust
coverage.
what
Explain coverage.
coverage is where they give you their opinions on your script. They give you feedback.
Right.
And that, yes, get feedback from friends, but that's quite a favor to ask them to read your 2-hour
Yes, but
script.
if you have nice coffee, and I mean really, really good coffee, and your homemade brownies,
Not like
and
the crap they gave us in the green
no,
rooms. I'm just kidding.
but look, we're actors. We love to read. We love to be a part of the creative process, and we're also highly intelligent. So get your friends and do those table reads and invite people over before you submit and pony up dough to get the coverage, which I think is important. But
Sure.
cheap is good. So get what you can first by trading favors.
Before you spend money, yeah.
There's
You
also writing classes that are everywhere, and there are some that are really good. Like we use On the Page Pilar Sandra, who has a podcast that's phenomenal, a screenwriting podcast.
It's called
On the Page.
Pilar also do script consulting where she just reads your script and gives you feedback. And the nice thing is, she's bluntly honest with you. She's not your friend, so she won't hold back. And that's the nice thing about a script consultant is they have no, if they insult your script, which they won't insult it, but
one thing for talking about free. How many people here are on Twitter? Okay, so you're familiar with hashtags, if you put the number sign and a word. There's a great writing community on Twitter called Script Chat. Hashtag SCRIPTCHAT. It's also hashtag TV Writer Chat. Oh my goodness, so many talented writers out there who people are offering advice, sharing articles. There's a chat on Friday nights at 5 p.m., which whenever I can, I take part of. Free resource, you'll meet all these interesting people. And that's where social media is so important, finding your community and finding resources.
And I think something else to think about, kind of on a different note, is don't pick a superhero movie. Don't pick Superman. We're going to shoot Superman. If you're talking about having a small budget or a shoestring budget, you're not going to compete with the studio films. You're just not, and there's no reason to do that. So look for films that that speak to you and your audience and your passion, but that are doable with the resources you have, the locations you have, the people and the actors you have. Less locations, smaller cast.
Say that again. Fewer locations, smaller cast.
Smaller cast and less shooting days. I mean, that's how you're going to save money.
So, okay, there's one more thing that you did in developing the script. You did readings. You did staged
Yeah,
readings.
we did a number of staged readings. I loved, the work that we did was an adaptation, which meant that I wasn't just going on the basis that I wrote it and I liked it. I was going from a piece of work that I liked, that was somebody else's work. And I think it's very important to have that measure of objectivity. I mean, most of the independent movies that are made...
Which measure of objectivity? What do you mean?
The measure of objectivity, that you're not just judging your own work.
You mean
and
having other
thinking it's
people
great
watch it.
and thinking it's great, or your
And
friends are telling you it's
How
great.
did you benefit from the staged reading?
You get to hear your words, you get to see actors working, you get to work with actors, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's a great resource, and you might even find people who you end up putting in the movie. Maybe not in the parts that they read, but
which we did.
But otherwise. But I think what you were saying about knowing what you want is is really important. If you're doing something as a showcase for you as an actor, it's one strategy that leads to. If you're doing something to be able to showcase yourself as a director or writer, it's something else. If you're looking to make money or get exposure, all of these things lead to different results. It's a time when it's very easy to make movies. I've been to maybe 50 festivals with our film at this point, and I've seen terrific movies made for $9,000 that I wonder why they don't have, significant distribution. But at least they can only lose $9,000 on that movie, and it will get them another job. What's sad is when people get into Sundance, and only about a third of the movies in Sundance get significant distribution.
Don't get too depressed. This is going to get really depressing soon if we start talking about festivals. But I just really quick, I just wanted to talk about readings, and we definitely did a reading of Love in the Time of Monsters also, and I didn't actually just bring in all of my friends that I knew that were actors to do it. I brought in people that were sort of impartial, because it's like what you were saying earlier. You guys obviously know lots of actors, but having people there that aren't necessarily your friends is always a good idea. And also, we did end up casting some of the people from the reading in the film, not always in the same role, but certainly there was one who was really good and ended up in the film later. But it's just it is a great thing to definitely have a reading. I highly recommend it.
And I have friends who will tell me the truth. Who they're friends, and then there are friends, right? You want to have people who will actually say, that doesn't work.
And something's really funny on the page.
To me, that is a friend. A friend is somebody who tells you the truth.
Sure.
So,
but there are also friends who want you to feel good.
Right.
And something can be really funny on the page. Something really funny on the page, and you've been through a bunch of drafts of a script, and you're totally just like out of your mind. You don't know if something's funny. You're just like, I don't even know anymore. So when you have someone read it out loud as an actor that's good, you know really fast if it's good or not.
Okay, now I'm not sure where to put this, but it's on my list here. Budgeting. When should I be budgeting? I'm an actor. I don't know anything about budgeting. Should I do a budget?
Well, I think first of all, you have to do a budget. A budget is how much money I think I'm going to spend. And
why do I have to do that? I'm an actor. I don't.
Well, you have to know how much money.
Do you have rich parents or a wealthy
no,
boyfriend?
No longer and never, actually. Yeah.
I know someone who did that, who made a movie without a budget. It started out he was going to spend about $125,000.
Yes.
Which he could cheerfully lose, and he ended up spending $1 million, which
Right.
he couldn't so cheerfully lose.
Yes. So
It gets out of control really quickly, so you definitely want
get
to
a budget.
plan.
the function of the budget.
Well, to answer the question is to know when to steal from Peter to pay Paul, but that number never changes. So if you have $100,000, then you know that number is your number, but you need more for wardrobe, you need more for camera, you need more for talent. So you're going to take it from here to put it over there, but it's going to be that moving those pieces around so that
Joe, you're
bottom
nodding.
number doesn't move.
Well, yeah, I find it helpful to look at other people's budgets, preferably ones from the last few years, and hopefully in the same budget range that you're looking to accomplish. So you can see, you can get a PA to work for free, or you can get a PA to work for $75, or, DPs will work for this, or, pretty much, like we use the book From Real to Deal by Dove Simmons. That's a great book, and it pretty much goes through all the things that you're going to either have to pay for or beg, borrow, and steal, right? One way or another, you're going to need these things, or choose not to use them. But you can get almost anything at any price. You just have to decide how important it is that it's good.
And on your second film, you actually hired a line producer to do a budget.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you have to. You have to hire a line producer to do a budget.
Yeah, we did not hire a line producer to do a budget on the films that we've produced, but we hired a line producer on another film that we hoped to produce.
And one great tip is make sure that the line producer you're hiring to do your budget is going to be the line producer who produces your movie, because otherwise, there's no responsibility,
no accountability,
no accountability and responsibility for the numbers they've given you. But budgets are incredibly misleading. Making a movie on a shoestring, which is, after all, the title of this, is about doing things, as inexpensively as possible, getting favors, and you've really got to make money. You've really got to make money stretch. And one of the ways you make money stretch is by a certain egalitarian spirit. There was a company called Indigent that was one of the pioneers of the micro-budget features. A guy named Gary Winnick who did Tadpole, which was one of the first successful digital movies with Sigourney Weaver, and they paid $125 a day to everyone. If you were Sigourney Weaver, you got $125. If you were the DP, you got $125. Everyone got $125 a day and split the profit pool. You've got to come up with some kind of way that people don't feel exploited. If you're making a horror film, it's very hard to do that, because people understand it's kind of a money-making enterprise. If you're doing, a loose interpretation of Macbeth, then people may get that and may come play in your sandbox. Defining what your sandbox is really important, because that's going to decide who comes. If people love the script, if it's something that's artistic and interesting, you'll get some interesting name actors to be in it, which is the best thing you can do for getting whatever money you've put in it back.
Right, and just one more thing on line producers. Again, there are people out there who you can hire who will do a budget for you. And when you are thinking seriously about filming, that is such a smart thing to do and money well spent. It also shows the people that you are trying to get to be in your movie and work on your movie that you're a serious filmmaker and you know what you're doing.
So the first time we've actually talked about spending money now. So if we're talking about spending money, what kind of money are we talking about?
If I can go back to the budget, I strongly believe, unless you're going to make a film that you don't, well, you should really decide if you want to make money or you want to make a movie that's not going to make money, and it's easy to do. You can figure out the genre.
A lot of people do that.
Don't make money.
Or make money or make art.
Well,
I mean, it's really,
you have
look
to
at what's
decide.
happening in the marketplace.
Because you can easily look at a picture and say, well, look, I want to do a film, a horror genre film with these criteria, and you can go to a sales agent, or you can look at films that did similar projections, and you can see what these movies make. And before you go over and say, well, I'm going to make a movie, a drama about this, and this, that doesn't have certain criteria, and I'm going to spend $1 million for that movie, and then that movie is going to go into the marketplace on DVD, VOD, foreign sales, and that movie's only going to be worth $500,000.
How do you find that out?
Surrendered $500,000.
How do you find out how much those movies make?
Sales agents.
Well, and one of the things that we did, when we were developing Love at the Time of Monsters was, we had a script, and it was a really ambitious script, which got changed by the time we shot it many times.
Why was that?
What's that?
There was a major change in terms of budget at one point, right?
Yeah, there was, and it was because what we did was we shot a scene from the film, and we went to the American film market, which really isn't a place for actors and indie filmmakers, but it is. Because
what is the American film market?
It's a place where you're basically getting all of these distributors and the sales agents from around the world that are there buying and selling films.
Once a year.
Well, once a year in November in Santa Monica, and there are other markets around the world. But we went with a scene from our film and pitched it to 45 distributors over 3 days, and we learned a lot about the genre that we were making and about the film that the market we were walking into. And so when we went in there thinking, oh, maybe we make this for $1 million, we came out of there going, all right, we need to cut this almost by 2/3 in order to make sure that we can make our money back. And so, we knew too, because we're making a horror comedy, that it's a marketable genre, and but we also wanted to make sure we made our investors' money back. So we were able to educate ourselves by going and pitching our idea and hearing what the people were saying about what the territories are paying for around the world for this type of film.
And it really is where the sausage is made. So if you really want to go, the director of the film went with us that year.
All business.
And he was just like, I don't know what's going on. Like, he was just like stunned, but it was really, because it's just, they'll just tell you straight up. There's like no reason for anyone to lie to you at a film market.
Well, movies are sold by the yard there. I've been to just about every American film market, and to Cannes, and to all of the markets, and you just would be amazed. I mean, they look at the poster, they look at the trailer, they look at the cast. That's really what they buy on the basis of, and the genre.
So it's fairly easy.
And it's a little hard, though, to say, by the time horror seems like a great idea, and you make your horror film, there's already a glut of horror films by the time yours is ready to go to the market. So I think the idea that you're going to jump in, it's really admirable what you did with the gay market thing. Paul, did you work with Paul Kulischman and Regent? Is that who you worked with?
I have not made a deal with them, but I had worked with them in a capacity.
See, they're a company that's in the American film market, very smart guys running it, who are very heavily committed to the gay niche project, and even have their own cable TV gay network. And there's definitely a market within that. But trying to get into one of these niche markets as a business, I think that for most people who want to make these
John, I'm going to head you off, because I think that most people here aren't going to make a film.
That's what I was trying to say. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah,
it's not about creating a business. It's about making something either you're very passionate to make that you can't get made otherwise, or having something as a calling card. Christopher Nolan, before he made Memento, made a little movie called Following, which didn't get any distribution at all, but got him noticed. It was a terrific little movie with no cast. He shot it over weekends, over like a 7-month period, because he had a job and his friends had a job, and he had to shoot it over weekends. And so he wrote a script that took that into account. That's kind of the inventory idea.
Right. And actors can do the same thing. Look, you're talking about budgeting. There's also since we're talking about money, where does it come from? You guys, yeah.
We made our movie, I made a budget, and I don't remember what the budget came to be, but it was probably, it was certainly over $60K was that original budget, and I didn't have that lying around, but we just dove in, and how we did it is we shot a day or two a month for 18 months, and we both kept full-time jobs. So we funneled money out of our day jobs into the film. We only needed about $800 a month for 18 months. Oh, $800 each a month for 18 months. It's quite a big commitment, and supplemented by donations from friends and family. Kickstarter is great, and Elizabeth and John have a great story of how they raised a crap load of money on Kickstarter, but it's a full-time job doing a Kickstarter campaign.
It's the hardest free money you'll ever make.
And yeah, it is. And we already had full-time jobs, and we were making a feature film. So what we did was we put lots of donation buttons on our website, different levels, just like Kickstarter, and didn't try so hard. And we pretty much just paid for the movie ourselves, and as we made the movie and talked about it on Facebook and Twitter and hired extras and hired crew, people would discover the movie, and we would get donations. We'd bring, the most unexpected extra would become your biggest fan and get all his friends and family to contribute. And so that's how we made it, just really slowly.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, just quickly, Joe just said something which I think is crucial, that he didn't crowdfund on Kickstarter, which is a full-time job, because he had another full-time job. He planned his movie, then he shot it over weekends. Don't do everything at once. Don't think that you can be in pre-production and be raising the money and trying and writing a script. It's steps. It's like going up a staircase, and on every floor there are things, and that's where, especially if you have a limited budget, it's the only way to fly, right?
Another
'Cause
reason
can't
why
do
you
it
need a
all.
budget is because, we would have crew members come to us, our cinematographer, sound people, and they'd say, hey, my day rate is, $500 a day or something like that. And if you know what your budget is, hey, maybe I can't pay that. They will ask you, what's the budget of your movie? And if you tell them, then hopefully they will realize, oh, I can't get my normal day rate. I'm going to have to, if I want to work on this movie, I'm going to have to come down to, $250 a day or something like that. So that's why it's really important to have your budget, to have a game plan. Got to go in with a game plan.
What were you going to add?
I was going to say, with Joe's movie, which I've seen and like, is, it takes place in the world of magic, of magicians, so that, you had, the great thing today, the light at the end of the tunnel, is that you can reach people through Facebook, through Twitter, through the web, who are interested in the things that, your movie is about in a way that you couldn't. There was no way 20 years ago to reach people interested in magic, in any kind of meaningful way. You could spend $20 million marketing a magic movie. Today, you can go on Facebook and find 20 groups interested in magic, right, and spread the word out from there.
And people are Googling stuff about magic all the time, I'm sure they found
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
And then they have a built-in audience base that when you've made your movie, he can go and play it at magic shows. You said that you were having great success with selling your DVDs in magic shops.
Yeah. I mean, video stores are gone, but we've got magic shops around the world selling our movie.
But you didn't write that movie. You didn't decide to do that movie for a niche. You found your niche once you decided to do. There are two ways of approaching niche.
I mean,
but you've got to approach niche.
It was more of a follow your heart kind of a thing because I have a background in magic and know that world. So I did know that I could market to that group. If all else fails, I knew that I would have that niche to go to, but that wasn't what drove me to write the script.
At any given moment, there's probably 10 projects you could think of that you want to do. The idea is to be strategic and smart about which one you're going to do next, right, and you were in doing the
I picked that movie more because it was my story, and I knew I had resources in that world. I mean, I knew that I could get magicians to be in the movie, and I knew that.
Which is really smart. And Joe also financed the movie because we did a show together at Scarecrow, and we would play poker when in the dressing room when we weren't doing it, and he made a lot of money playing poker.
Using sleight of hand.
I feel I'm one of your funders, Joe.
One of the things that I want to go back to, Elizabeth said about preparation. If you're going to make something on a small budget, really preparation is your best friend. In May, I shot a feature film for $6,000, and the only way we were able to do that was because we had an amazing cast of 10 actors who had been rehearsing and workshopping the characters and the story for about 1.5 years with the director and writer. Smart. And they originally didn't even intend to shoot a feature film, but through discovering these characters and these stories that they were all passionate about, they decided to continue the story in kind of a feature-length film. And so we were able to shoot over 5 days and shoot an 1.5 hour, finished movie. We're in post right now, but it really did work very, very well, and everyone was so passionate and into it. We had a very small crew. We had a larger cast than we did crew, and we did it for $6,000, and that was, pulling a lot of favors, shooting at my father's house. My husband cooked all the meals for everyone. It was insane.
That's what you got to do.
But you have to do it, and, he was cooking and DIT at the same time, and I was props and script supervisor, producer, and it was insane, but everyone had a blast. And because the director and the cast knew those characters so well and had prepared, we could do it. We did long takes. We planned to have cameras that could record long takes. Some of the scenes lasted 45 minutes, and it was amazing. But you couldn't have done that without the preparation.
Could I add, I'm sorry, just about the money, because the question is, and this is what everyone wants to know, is where do you get the money? Because that's the only question anyone ever has. And I think that I'm a big supporter of making it a business, making your career your business. As an actor, you are your business. You are you incorporated, if you're incorporated or not, but you are working for you, to promote you, to create a career for yourself. And if it's not going to be in someone else's film, it's going to be in your film, and you create that film for yourself. And I suspect that that's why most people are here. So I would approach it as a business. What I did, similar to an actor, I wanted to be a director. So I approach it as a business. So I put together a script that I had a projection on how much that was worth. And I did all the numbers, and I put a crew together, and I put a great cast together. And I said, this movie, if I sold, this movie would be worth approximately this amount of money. And I approached 2 investors, and my first film was $40,000. And I said, I need $40,000. You give me 20, and you give me 20. Here's what this movie can make, and we're going to do this film.
Go out and find 2 people who give you $20,000.
Well, you know what? But you put a business plan together, and you can do it. I mean, that's how the world works. Is they put a business plan together.
And you go to people you know first. You know, people who care about you, who know your passion, who trust you. Go to friends and family first and see what you can come up with. I mean,
but it's math. Like,
right,
you know, it's, you go to a sales
let them know
agent.
that they are likely to not make a penny of it back. You have to be
Important.
very. No, you can't tell people to invest in your movie because it'll make
Well,
money.
you can't promise to give them their money back, but you can show them a business plan that
Absolutely.
says this is what this type of film is projected to make, and you can go and you can get partners to believe in you. And I think that is something that would be important to everybody here, is to put together a business plan. And that business plan would actually show what that movie can make based on educated sales projections.
And do a little research about looking into the rules of investment and with the SEC, because there are rules when you are looking for investors.
Hence a good lawyer if you're going to go that route. But, you know, that route... You know, the route of getting investors for your movie who are doing it on a business basis is you know, it's a different aspect of what I think.
When you talk about $40,000, you
JC, you are also, you have a business head. I mean, within 20 seconds of first talking to you, I could see that. You have a brilliant business mind. I am an actor. If I'm going to do my film, I'm not going to do that. What?
I wouldn't give you a penny.
Exactly. That's my point.
I'll give you $100 a day to be in my movie.
Thank you.
No, but do you know somebody who believes in your career, who is a business person? You know, inventory your social circle, and if you know somebody, you know, who is a business person or an attorney, who you can say, listen, this is what I'm doing. I want to partner up with you to complement our skills to put this together so we both make money.
Okay, but assuming that I don't do that when I make my film, assuming that, I forgot my question.
Can I make a point, Richard? Yeah. You know, there's a difference between sort of a low-budget movie and turning it into a kind of a business plan, which I think is great. I mean, I know tons of people who do that and do it very successfully. But, you know, usually actors want to make a movie because they've either not been getting parts or they've been getting crap parts.
Or they find a great script that they just have to do.
They find a tremendous script, or they want to write a script, whichever
Right.
it is. And then I think you're going to be better served by trying to do what you can pull together, you know, out of your own pocket and the pocket of people you know a lot. Because once you're starting to take meetings with people or business people, what have you done? What haven't you done? Why, you know, most movies lose money. I mean, most of the movies that are made for under $1 million lose their whole budget.
One strategy, though, I heard this from More Than Joe, it's instead of shooting for like 2 weeks, you shoot over a long period of time, right?
That's a way to make it work.
Yes.
That's what Christopher Nolan did.
Or what Allison did. I think that's brilliant. You know, that you have a script that you workshop amongst your friends, the cast, over years, and you become like a family, and you shoot it. And my guess is that most of the people here are looking to do something that isn't, you know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, to do something that you might be able to do for $6,000.
I mean, if you're tired
less.
of waiting for the phone to ring and you're tired of waiting for the part to come along, there's never been a better time to make a movie. But that said, there's never been a worse time to try to get anyone to look at your movie.
Okay, we're going to get to that.
You know what?
In
There's
a
something about
minute.
investing, though, to think about. I mean, the people that you went to that gave you money, they weren't just investing because you had a good business plan. They were investing in you. And, that's something, the main reason that people invest is not necessarily because they're going to make a ton of money, but because of who you are and something about you, whether or not it's maybe you're passionate about a certain social issue or something like that, or they just believe in you. You're the person who's going to sell it. So it is possible, even if you don't have, the best winning business plan, to still get people involved in your movie and want to invest in it.
And they're investing in you. And my guess is that we don't really have time to spend a lot of time on crowdfunding. But that's really important when you're crowdfunding, is as much as investing in your project, they're investing in you, the person. In fact, people donate to money on Kickstarter and Indiegogo for 3 reasons. They like your project, they like the people, or they like the perks. They like the premiums that you're giving them.
Like on PBS, if you're not familiar with Kickstarter, the DVDs or whatever they're giving away.
Right. Does everybody here know what crowdfunding is, or should I quickly?
Kickstarter.
Indiegogo.
Indiegogo, Kickstarter, Seed and Spark. It's where you post a video about your project and a little bit about something about your project, and then people donate, not invest. They donate money to you in exchange for premiums and thank yous.
In small amounts. I have donated to several projects. I've gotten a coffee cup, or I did it because I
don't think you donated to ours. Did you?
I did.
Did you?
Yes. Where's my coffee cup?
Kickstarter.com, Indiegogo.com, Indiegogo, Indiegogo.
But I know 4 people who've done it in the last month, and they haven't met their goal.
It's hard.
It's very hard,
difficult.
and people are getting sick of it. It's already something.
Yeah,
that,
you get a lot of solicitations in your email.
People are sick and tired of the crowdfunding model, which means that you've really got to tap into that kind of thing, of a base of people who support it because of a social issue, or because of a professional issue, or because of interest in some particular aspect of it.
Or you do what Joe and Tammy did, which is to work for 18 months and to spend the money over that period of time.
Right, and they put donate buttons on their Kickstarter site. We did a successful Kickstarter to raise distribution funds. We had finished our movie, had played in festivals around the world, but we wanted to raise money to do theatrical because that was important to us. And we did it. We raised $92,000 on Kickstarter, which is about half of what we need to match. And then we have a Slacker backer site because we got a lot of people who were interested but missed the Kickstarter. So there are still on our website, like you guys did, you can go and donate for some of the premiums. And people, they want to be a part of it. And it's also...
Did you say slacker backer?
Yeah,
what is that?
Actually John coined that term because we were getting, I missed this, I want to do it, can I get this? So we decided...
You're in luck.
You're in luck, you can still join.
We'll still take your money.
Right, but...
fundraising never stops.
No, but as important, and this is key, as important as the funding and crowdfunding is the crowd. Because now we have 800 plus diehard fans who are really invested in us and our film, and they're involved, and
we're going to put them all to work.
We are putting them to work, and they, in terms of, I can help with this, and yeah, and that's what you were saying. I mean, you really want to get those people who are as passionate as you, and you give them something in return. We're helping them with their stuff. So.
Now, I noticed when I talked to everybody here beforehand, not a lot of people actually wanted to talk about the shoot itself, but what almost everybody said was they needed somebody else to get their back. Everybody here is a part of a team, and it's not by accident an ultra low budget. Could somebody talk to that?
Well, I was just going to say, definitely with Allison, we were kind of biting off as much as we could possibly chew, or at least I felt like I was, so I definitely went and reached out to Allison and another producer who's not here, but it was definitely a team thing, because as we said earlier, as the producer who initiates the project, you are the dad, you're the mom, you're the babysitter, you're everything. But that will get you really far. And that actually, I'd like to just say, that's like the number one most important thing is you got to believe. Because we could go on and on about why things won't work, because there's tons of reasons why things won't work. But if you really, really believe in something and you go, you'll get really far. But to have people that have your back is really important, because there will be times when, shit hits the fan, and you need somebody there to help you pick you up, because you've been carrying this ball so far, so it really, really is important to have a good team. And
Elizabeth, you've been doing a lot of getting John's back, I gather. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, I'm a paragon of virtue and hard work. Oh, John. Well, I've been really fortunate, because I could not have had a better mentor as a producer, because John has produced on the studio level, in the indie world. There isn't anybody I know who is a harder worker than John.
And what did you do?
Well, like now in the post-production, John, as the writer, director, producer, became the post supervisor, and I kind of did everything. Everything I was told.
You did stuff.
Not everything.
You did stuff you weren't told as well during the shoot, right? There was
right, but
craft service went awry.
There is nothing there for a producer. There
right?
is no job too menial. You do what needs to be done, and I think that's
why I wanted to be a director.
Yeah, right.
But it's so important, and that goes
Art.
back, especially if you're an actor who wants to be starring in your movie. Do not, never, ever be the producer too that's ordering people around, because you can't be the producer who's freaking out because the cinematographer is taking a million years to light a scene like you experience, and being the actor. You've got to have somebody who can get you back.
The truth is that during production, money is going really quickly for extras, for lunches, for all kinds of things, and one of the main reasons you need somebody you trust involved when you're, especially as the director, is that you can't be watching over that stuff. You need somebody who's going to be there to make sure that people aren't getting away with stuff. And morale is a really important, crucial issue on these kinds of movies, because people aren't getting paid very much. And a lot of them begin to have resentment that they're not getting paid very much, when you're going into the 16th hour of the day. And they think, God, I knew I wasn't getting paid very much, but I didn't know I'd have to work 16 hours. And, it's infectious. Bad morale is really infectious. And they won't be telling you as the director.
Yes.
They'll be bitching to each other, oh, chicken again, And, you really need somebody there to kind of put out fires for you, because otherwise you begin to find that you have real problems on the set. And if I could give... I have a list of the 10 things I wish I'd known before I made my movie, which actually is 11 things, because I'm an indie filmmaker, and I squeezed an extra one in. One of them is fire quickly. You've got to be prepared to, as Napoleon said, to make an omelet, you must first break eggs. You got to be prepared when people aren't working out to move on quickly and have some depth of personnel that you can bring in. You know very quickly when people are beginning to be a problem. In pre-production, you usually know, and that's the best time to replace them. And if people are care about the money, unless it's the drivers or the grips, they do care about money. They don't care about the art that much usually. Some people, it is just the money, and you treat them extremely well, very deferentially. Don't get in front of them in the food line. Get behind them, because they're working really hard. Go learn their names, talk to them, thank them every day for what they're doing, make people feel appreciated. As an actor, when the director comes and talks to you, even if you have a small part in the morning, before you work, it means a lot. All of these things are the currency of these small movies.
And feed people well. That right? Have good food and really good coffee, and it goes along.
Yes.
It goes a long way. Yeah, it really does. It makes a difference.